Hey guys, today I'm walking you through a deadly opening trap. This is a theoretical model line, not a real game, but every single idea here is completely real and something you can use in your own games right away. This is called the Belloni Trap in the Italian game, and trust me, if you play e4, or if you face e4, you absolutely need to know this. Let's go through it step by step. The opening setup, so we start with the most natural chess moves in the world. White plays pawn to e4, Black responds with pawn to e5. Knight comes out to f3, attacking that e5 pawn, and Black defends with knight to c6. Now White plays bishop to c4, and we're in the Italian game. This bishop is aiming straight at f7, which is the weakest square in Black's position at the start of the game. It's only defended by the king. That's the whole idea behind the Italian. Pressure on that diagonal, pressure on f7. Black responds with bishop to c5, which is the classical variation. A very natural, symmetrical development. Both bishops are active, both sides are developing, looks like a fair game so far. Now White plays c3. And this is a really important move from an opening theory perspective. White is not just making a random pawn move, this is preparing d4. The plan is simple. Push d4, establish a powerful pawn center with pawns on e4 and d4, and open up lines for all of White's pieces. This is one of the main strategic ideas in the Italian game. Black's first decision, Black responds with d6. Now, this is a solid move. It defends the e5 pawn and develops the position, but it's a little passive compared to the more common knight to f6, which immediately puts pressure on e4. By playing d6, Black gives White a smooth path to execute the d4 push without any real counterplay. White goes ahead with d4, exactly as planned. The center opens up. Black captures, pawn takes on d4, and White recaptures with the c-pawn. Pawn takes d4. Now look at the position. White has a beautiful pawn center, e4 and d4. The bishop on c4 is aiming at f7. The knight on f3 is active. White is in great shape. The inaccuracy, bishop to b4 check, and here's where things start to go wrong for Black. Black plays bishop to b4 check. Now, at first glance, this looks clever, right? You're giving check, you're developing with tempo, you're disrupting White's position. A lot of players, especially at the club level, would play this move without thinking twice. But here's the problem. After White steps the king to f1, that bishop on b4 is completely out of the game. It's sitting on b4 with nowhere useful to go. It's not attacking anything important, and it's actually going to become a target. What engines tell us, and what strong players know, is that bishop to b6 was the right retreat. Keep the bishop on a useful diagonal, maintain pressure, stay solid. That was the correct plan. But Black played bishop to b4 check, and the evaluation jumps from roughly equal to clearly favoring White. This is the first turning point of the game. The critical mistake, knight to f6. Now here's where it gets really dangerous. White's king is on f1. It looks a little awkward, sure. Black might feel like things are fine, so Black plays knight to f6. And this is the move that changes everything. Knight to f6 is a completely natural developing move. It attacks the e4 pawn. It develops a piece toward the center. In 99% of Italian game positions, knight to f6 is a great move. But right here, in this exact position, it's a serious tactical mistake. What Black needed to play was bishop to a5. Just retreat the bishop. Get it off b4 where it's exposed, tuck it away on a5 where it's safe and still has some diagonal potential. That was the critical defensive resource, but Black didn't play it, and now the trap is set. The evaluation jumps from around +1 to nearly +2.5 for White. That's a full piece worth of advantage about to materialize. The trap springs, d5, White plays pawn to d5. This is the key move. The pawn advances right into the heart of Black's position, and it attacks the knight on c6. Now think about what's happening here. The knight on c6 has to move. But where can it go? The knight retreats to e5. It's really the only reasonable square. But by moving that knight, Black has lost control of the center, and more importantly, look at the board. The bishop on b4 is just sitting there, undefended, alone. No knight on c6 protecting the a5 square. No way back to safety. The devastating queen check. White plays queen to a4 check. And this is the Belloni Trap in all its glory. The queen lands on a4, giving check to black's king, and simultaneously, it's looking straight at that bishop on b4. It's a fork. The king is in check and the bishop is hanging. Black's only option is to block with the bishop on d7, bishop to d7, getting out of check. But now white simply plays queen takes bishop on b4. And just like that, white has won a full piece. A whole bishop gone in just 10 moves. The final position, let's look at where we stand. White has an extra bishop, a dominant pawn center, and a completely healthy position. Yes, the king is on f1, it'll castle by hand later, no big deal. White's pieces are coordinated, the extra material is real, and black's position is in ruins. This is the kind of advantage that at any level of chess, whether you're a beginner or a grandmaster, is simply decisive. The game is effectively over. What should we learn from this? There are some really valuable takeaways here. First, in the Italian game, after white plays c3 and d4, be extremely careful about where your bishop goes. The temptation to play bishop to b4 check is real. It looks active. It looks aggressive. But if the king simply sidesteps to f1, that bishop can become a liability instead of an asset. Always ask yourself, after the check, is my piece actually better placed? Second, just because a move is natural doesn't mean it's right. Knight to f6 is almost always a good move in the Italian. But in this specific position, with the bishop stranded on b4, black needed to address that problem first. Tactical awareness means recognizing when the normal move is actually the wrong move. And third, this is exactly why studying opening traps matters. The Belloni Trap isn't some obscure curiosity. This position comes up all the time in online chess and club chess. If you know it, you'll either avoid falling into it as black, or you'll punish your opponent as white. Either way, you're winning more games. So remember this trap. Italian game, classical variation. Bishop to b4 check looks tempting, but it walks right into queen a4 and you lose a piece. Add it to your chess improvement toolkit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.